I want to put up this tweet here from the White House, and you can see there the photo of Starmer and Trump saying this. Trump, the U.S. and U.K. have a special relationship, really like no other, passed down through the centuries, and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to keep it very strong as it is. Out live there to London. Oh, and Keir Starmer posting that photo as well. Out live to London there. I want to read this and just highlight this. It was at the very top of Mike Emanuel's report. President Trump accepting an invitation from King Charles today to visit Britain. It would make the U.S. president the first elected political leader in modern times to be hosted for two state visits by a British monarch, two different British monarchs, of course, Queen Elizabeth II and her son now King Charles III. Starmer handed Trump a letter from Charles during that press conference with reporters there at the White House, and Trump immediately accepted the invitation. So no sense yet on timing of when this state visit will take place, though I know a lot of you watching follow the British royal family very closely, and here on Live Now we will cover that once we get a better sense of timing and when that might take place. In the meantime here, let's talk about this visit, the Russia-Ukraine war, Zelensky's visit tomorrow. We're going to do that with none other than national security analyst and expert and retired Marine intelligence officer, Hal Kempfer. He joins me. Hal, good to see you here. Let's get into this first. The deal on the rare earths minerals, the mining deal, the revenue sharing, what have you. Is it going to hold before the signing tomorrow? Are you optimistic that this is going to go forward?
Andrew, everything indicates that it probably will go forward. The deal may just be signing a framework for a deal. I think there's still a lot of details. Everything I'm seeing says there's still details to be worked out. And even then, once it's signed, it's not like suddenly rare earths start coming into the U.S. Inventory, so to speak. Starting a mining operation, particularly starting a mining operation in a war zone, is a daunting challenge. It takes a lot of time. By the way, security is part. You have to have a secure environment to do mining. So even though security won't be specifically addressed in this agreement, from what I understand, there has to be some security guarantee somewhere in order just to fulfill on the mining part of the agreement. So it does look like it's going to be a good day, and I anticipate that there'll be a very positive show, and everything that certainly President Trump said today indicates that at least for the cameras and in public, it's going to be one of friendship, mutual respect, and get this thing signed.
Yeah, I had asked you earlier in the week, do you imagine it would be tense coming off some of the rhetoric and language President Trump has used to describe Volodymyr Zelensky as of late? You and I have been talking about that multiple times, both vocally and written in text on posts on Truth Social. Trump had called Zelensky or referred to him as a dictator. He was asked about this, whether he still thinks Zelensky is a dictator. This is how he responded just today. Let's listen.
Sometimes that happens. I get along with both. I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I think I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky. And now we're doing the deal, and we're going to be in there. We're going to be actually in there and digging our hearts out. And hopefully, we need the rare earth, and we have some here, but we don't have enough. Our economy is very strong, and we need a lot of things that in some cases we don't have here. So I think we're going to have a very good relationship, but the relationship between them is not the best.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, so Hal, what's going on there? Obviously, flattery does go a long way, and Zelensky's coming to Washington tomorrow here, but he did say that. What is he doing? Is this strategic or not?
Well, President Trump is not one to apologize, shall we say, in public. And I think that's his way of kind of, if you will, not so much backing down, but maybe kind of resetting things a little bit. He was very flattering to the bravery of the Ukrainian troops. He was flattering to Zelensky himself. And he just kind of did that in that sort of traditional, shall we say, Trumpian way of kind of moving beyond that question. And nobody wanted a president, least of all Keir Starmer. One thing I will say of today's meeting, was there was somebody put overdrive on making sure the report looked really good. And there were issues. There are gaps between where the U.S. is and certainly where President Trump is, Prime Minister Starmer, his position. But that was really kind of almost glossed over. And I found the language that was used was very diplomatic, very carefully selected. Even that little thing like, did I say that? And that was probably rehearsed, is my guess. I
Oh,
don't think that was off the cuff. I think they were trying to figure out how do you get past that question because you'll probably get asked. And I think that may have been something that he had prepared because
okay.
I will tell you this: he delivered it with his timing was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, maybe your point is apt that he responded in that way in order to put that dictator question to bed before tomorrow, and so we'll just have to see whether or not he's asked about it again tomorrow here. Starmer is quite ebullient and optimistic, and really kind of bullish on this idea of peacekeepers from the UK in the form of troops to shore up a longer lasting peace if a security guarantee is reached between Russia and Ukraine here. We're not getting much on that idea from the United States. Are you surprised that Starmer and others there in the UK are moving forward so much with this very idea? Are they putting the cart before the horse, so to speak? And you and I have talked about this. The United Kingdom's kind of military complexion right now is not where it needs to be to support something like this. So is there a disconnect there?
A little bit of a disconnect. I got to tell you this: they got to put more money into their defense needs. They don't have that many troops now. Could they put potentially? I don't think they could put 20,000 troops out there, but I think it's conceivable that Brits could put 10,000 troops. I think the Germans could easily put 10 or 20,000 troops. And then you get into it, would the Poles put troops out there? Would the Swedes, would the Finns, would the Benelux countries put troops? Could you have Spanish troops out there? Could you have Italian troops? I heard some things from Moroni today, which made me kind of raise my eyebrow. I said, I think we might be seeing Spanish or Italian troops in such a deal. It could be not NATO, but something that looks like a NATO force by the time it's
how
all
would
done.
Putin abide by that at all? I mean, we know his antipathy toward NATO. The United States has said so many times, both in the Biden administration, the Trump administration, no U.S. troops are going on the ground there in Ukraine. If there is some type of settlement reached and it's going to be buffeted by European peacekeeping troops, will Putin ever let that happen? And my other question is, you heard from President Trump a lot there today with Starmer. He is also very bullish on Putin keeping to whatever agreement is made long term. Does he trust him like that?
Well, what's interesting is President Trump, when they started talking about security stuff, he kind of pushed it back, says, hey, look, we got to get to peace. Once we get to peace, then we'll work on the security stuff. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And there probably is an element of truth there, because whatever it takes, all the machinations, all the give and take that's going to take to get to an agreement. And in that agreement, you're going to have what a peacekeeping force would look like. That'll be in there. Now, right now, there's a huge gap. I mean, it's gigantic. If you look at the Istanbul protocols that I don't know, I keep hearing that we keep referring to them, which are really not acceptable to certainly to the Europeans, not acceptable in any way, shape, or form to the Ukrainians, which is basically that they keep keep these territories that basically Ukraine military somewhat disarms and all sorts. It's something that's just not going to happen. But there are meetings in Istanbul right now with U.S. and Russian representatives talking about what this whole thing might look like. But there's a huge gap here, which is territory. Now, one thing that's interesting is Putin's position is that Russia would keep all the 4 oblasts that they claim.
Sure.
And that would mean that they take territory that they currently don't hold in the Donbass.
Oh.
That's what he's saying. All right. So that's his position going in. President Trump today, for the first time, indicated that might push back, that Russia might have to cede some territory, that Ukraine would be able to assert sovereignty or sovereign control or control over territory. I just found that to be an interesting thing. I had not heard President Trump say that before, but obviously territorial back and forth is going to be a big discussion, not just what Russia holds, but what they might have to give up in order to get to an agreement. So that's a big one right there.
Okay.
And then the other one was and certainly it'll tie to the rare earths, which is who controls the ground in these areas where the rare earths are found, because a lot of the rare earths are actually found in Russian-controlled areas.
Okay.
And so there's going to be some negotiation there too.
All right, Al Kemper, we'll just have to wait and see how tomorrow pans out there between President Trump and President Zelensky. I'm sure we'll be speaking then. And until then, we'll talk soon, Hal. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.